What's good, everyone? So, when it comes to this is again another subject I tend not to touch on, but I pay a lot of attention to. So, I'm going to start talking about these things a lot more. So, when it comes to the leaders of this country and the general election, etc., black people in this country generally vote for the party or the person that's less racist. Hence why we've voted for the Labour Party historically, because we've seen the Tories as a bunch of racists over the years. And that's the long and short of it. When you look at the likes of Enoch Powell, to your modern day Boris Johnson, to the people currently in government now, you could tell why black people do not vote on a whole for the Tory party. And that's probably never going to change based on their rhetoric and who they are. We generally vote for the less racist party. But what do these parties have to offer us? What does Labour have to offer us? Labour offers us nothing really, other than being, like I said, less racist. The things that affect black people in this country, Labour offers no solution to these problems. When you look at the communities we live in, COVID was a great example. It affected black people on a higher rate, way higher than any other race. And generally, if you were poor, you suffered more from COVID because of your circumstances. You look at the police and the stop and search powers and how the rate at which we're stopped and searched and whatnot. It tells you, it shows you how detrimental it is to a community. I can't remember the percentage, but it's a very high percentage of black people that do not have trust in the police service. And that's a terrible, terrible thing, right? The idea that to stop crime is to flood or to stop crime is to invest in police and get more police on the street. Yes, of course, it's going to stop crime. If I put 100 police officers on a high street, of course it's going to stop crime on that high street. But what happens on the other high street? Essentially, all we do is kick the can. Right? So whilst investing in police officers is great, yes, there's no crime on this high street because there's a load of police officers there. But the crime is going to shift to another high street. The way we stop crime as a whole is investing in communities. We invest in communities. That's the way we do it, but that's probably too costly for the government, right? So they rather come up with this fictitious plan about investing in police officers and we need more police on the street, more police on the street. It's absolute garbage. It's absolute nonsense. So it's a short-term fix, and in fact, they don't actually put more police on the street anyway. So the only way and the most successful way to stop crime is investing in communities. So you're talking about after-school clubs, social clubs, apprenticeships, etc., etc. Investing in communities, keeping kids on the straight and narrow, keeping them off the streets. So, after school, instead of going and hanging out with their mates on the street corner, they could go to the social club and get an apprenticeship or learn a skill or learn a trade or hang out in a safe environment and not be influenced by someone who lived on the estate, who drives a fancy car, who got that by unscrupulous means or what. That's how we change communities. This is the things that affect people from the black community. That's how you change it. You don't change it by deciding that I'm going to put 1 million more police officers in the high street. What's this going to do? You're going to criminalize a lot more people and arrest a lot more people and throw a lot more people in prison and give a lot more people, it's just a nonsense. So going back to my initial point, black people tend to vote for the party that they deem less racist. So a party full of Enoch Powells is unlikely to get the black vote. And as simple as that. When you look at the substance and we look at what we get from the Labour Party, it's not much different from what we get from the Conservative Party. There's no talk about reparations. There's no talk about, teaching black history, real black history in school. I mean, the anti-critical race theory and all the rest of it, right? And I think the biggest problem in this country is ignorance, really. Is that people do not understand. People don't understand that why I'm here, for example. I'm here because your ancestors were there. I didn't immigrate to the Caribbean. My ancestors didn't immigrate to the Caribbean. They were taken there on slave ships. But yet you call me an immigrant. How? Look up the definition of an immigrant, and you come back to me and tell me if most black people who came from the Caribbean The place that you put us, or your ancestors certainly did, and now immigrants to this country. We did not immigrate to the Caribbean, most of us. The vast majority of us in the Caribbean, the high 99% of us in the Caribbean, did not immigrate to the Caribbean. Our ancestors were taken there during the transatlantic slave trade, and this is why we're here today. So until people understand that simple, simplistic bit of history, nothing changes. Nothing changes because it's not taught in school. It's not taught in school because you don't want to hurt little Tarquin feeling about his ancestors and what they did to Africans and etc. That's the most ridiculous. Some of the ridiculous excuses I've heard about why it should not be taught at school. It's pathetic. We should be teaching real history. Everyone should have a basic understanding of why people like myself are here. People should have a basic understanding of how we built this country after World War II, how we fought in World War I for this country, how there was a massive shortage of workers in this country after World War II, and people from the Caribbean who were British subjects came here to rebuild this country. How people from the Caribbean fought in world wars for this country. Had we not had people from India and the Caribbean, this country would be speaking German right about now if we didn't have those people. These people fought for this country. So until we understand those basic forms of history, nothing changes. And until it's taught in school, I don't see anything from the Labour Party advocating for any of this to be taught in school. And that's where we need to start this from a basic form of understanding and education, for everyone to understand why we're here and how we contributed to this country as much as white English people did, to building the very fabric of this country. Just like America was built on the back of slaves, so was this country. Trillions and trillions of pounds was made during the transatlantic slave trade. Trillions of pounds was made. When slavery ended in the 1800s, 1835 or 1838, between that time, the slave owners, the 45,000 British slave owners, were compensated for the loss of their slaves to the tune of £20 million back then. That's about 20 billion in today's money. The slaves got nothing. These are the simple, basic history that I guarantee you half the people in this country, or the vast majority of this country, don't know. And why? Because it's deliberately so. So, it starts from a place of education. People should learn about their history, their real history. Our history is your history. It's not black history, it's not white history, it's our history. And it should be spoken about. Everyone should have a better understanding of it. And that's the only way anything changes. And that's all I have to say for now. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.